Lakia. So my phone storage just ran out, so I'm gonna finish with this video. We have to
overthrow God's authority and create a global government. At the time of the founding of the European Union, a poster was distributed using this Renaissance painting and the 12 stars of the European Union flag. But notice the 12 stars.
see, and the European Union is a part of a beast system, see, which comprise the nations of NATO and EU, and being run by the war which sit upon many waters as America. That's America.
Are inverted. They're upside down. That was not an accident. This is a known satanic symbol of Satan himself, with the two upper points representing his horns. And the date the EU Parliament headquarters was finished happened to be December 2020. The very date the pandemic was said to have started in China. Interesting coincidence. Now, if this building is based on the Tower of Babel, what can we learn about it? In Genesis 11, this is what the people of Babel said about the tower they were building. Come, let us build ourselves a city, and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth. Genesis 11:4. Making a name for themselves does not mean being famous. Rather, it speaks of authority, that they wanted authority to make their own decisions rather than obeying God. Also notice they did not want that authority scattered across the earth, but rather wanted a singular government. This
is what the elites are planning to do. That's why they introduced these CBDCs. They want to introduce the cashless society, which will lead to the implantation of MOTBs, and then implantation of MOTBs will lead to them to have easy access to control the population, because all people will have the MOTB in the societies which they are going to create, which are the dystopian society. See, because freedom will be limited, restricted. So when they put a microchip on your body, on your forehead, on your hands, they're going to direct you what to do and what not to do, what to eat and what not to eat. And they will influence you to take the chip. They will not force you to take the chip. They will use your woman, your family, your relatives for you to take the chip. See? And for those who will not take it, they will be excluded from the society. So the elites were to form one world government, currency, army, currency, army, government. And government, when you go to the etymology of that term, govern means to control. See, from that Latin word, to direct, to control. See, and the ment means mind, reason, intellect, of the frame of mind. So simply government means mind control. And what are the ways of controlling the mind, if not the medias for nowadays? See, if not these big institutions like universities, see, if not these biggest artists, athletes, see, that's why Esau is put much focus on sports and games and entertainment, in order to put people away, for them to not understand what he is doing privately. See, that's why the Colosseum was built in Rome. See, Esau just want to distract people that they should not know his ways. See, Esau don't want people to know his ways. See, that's why there are many of these artists and musicians trying to create beefs online in order to distract people from not knowing the truth. See, let's go to the book of Matthew 10 and 26, if I'm not mistaken. So Matthew 10 and 26 says, "Fear them not therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known."
This is exactly the two things that the EU Parliament desires to do. They are openly desiring the same things as ancient Babel. Let's take a look at the events that happened there, because it will give us an idea of what plans the EU might have. Historically in Babel, the leader of this rebellion against God was Nimrod. This is what the Bible says about that first global dictator. Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one on the earth. Notice it said he began to be a mighty one. We'll come back to that. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. From that land he went to Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Ir, Calah, and Rezin between Nineveh and Calah. That is the great city. Genesis 10, 8 through 12. Let's take this apart piece by piece. First it says Nimrod began to be a mighty one on the earth. This word mighty one is Gibor in the Hebrew. Some interpret this word as tyrant, some as giant. As the Nephilim were giants, they were Gibor. The Septuagint uses the term gigantes, or giant there. We'll discuss.
So if you are not aware, the Septuagint is the Greek version of the ancient Hebrew Bible, and which contained the what they call the Deuterocanonical books, or the Apocrypha.
This concept later in the video. It's very interesting that Nimrod is said to be a mighty hunter before the Lord, and the text says it twice. The name Nimrod comes from the Hebrew, the one who rebels. So being a mighty hunter before God seems odd if he's a rebel. Judaic interpreters as early as Philo and Yohanan ben Zakkai, both from the 1st century AD, interpreted a mighty hunter before the Lord literally as in the face of the Lord, as signifying in opposition to the Lord, and this makes sense. Other sources said hunter was not only a hunter of animals, but also people. He executed those who did not obey him, and this is part of the way.
See what the beast system is doing. See, put away. See, execute those who are going against their will, those who are going against the whole system of the matrix. That's what they do, the beast system.
He rebelled against God. The Jewish historian Josephus tells us about him and the building of the tower in great detail. Now it was Nimrod who excited them to be such an affront and contempt of God. He was the grandson of Ham, the son of Noah, a bold man and of great strength of hand. He persuaded them not to ascribe it to God, as if it were through his means that they were happy, but to believe that it was their own courage which procured that happiness. He also gradually changed the government into tyranny. Notice that. Seeing no other way of turning men from the fear of God, but to bring them into a constant dependence on his own power. Antiquities of the Jews 4:2. Really interesting stuff. Notice he changed the government to tyranny. He was a dictator. And that, Josephus says, this form of government is necessary to turn people from the fear of God by bringing them into dependence on the government. And isn't this exactly what the European-based World Economic Forum is planning to do with the Great Reset? I mean, it's exactly the same strategy. Of course, they're listening to the same leader, Satan, to create a world where you will own.
See, and the nation of white people, the nation of Esau, the Amalekites, are the only nation on the planet that are closed or tied to the spiritual demon Satan. That's why we call Esau the physical counterpart of the devil.
Nothing. No clothes or food, housing, but will rent everything from the government. Total dependence, total tyranny. Josephus continued. Now the multitude were very ready to follow the determination of Nimrod, and to esteem it a piece of cowardice to submit to God. And they built the tower. Antiquities of the Jews 4:3. This is exactly how the media tells us to live. Self-reliance and self-love rather than loving and trusting God. There is absolutely nothing new under the sun. This goes back all the way to right after the flood.
See? And this is written in the book of Ecclesiastes. There is nothing new under the sun. The N.W.O plans are not just here. They are all manifest during the time of Nimrod. One legacy, one country, see, one government.
Now, once he became a Gibor and a Gibor hunter in God's face, Nimrod set about to build an empire, both in the land where Babel was based, which scholars believe was the ancient Sumer, and expanded it into the area of Assyria. In total, the Bible calls this empire the Great City. This is exactly the phrase used later in Revelation for Mystery Babylon, the empire that will be based on the ancient Nimrod-led Babel. And this appears to be exactly what the European Union is set on building. Their parliament headquarters shows you what their true intents are, and they're open about it. To build the great city and follow the Nimrod who is to come.
Now this time they are going wrong. See, but we all know that here he is going to speak on the beast who is, was, and yet is alive. See, so now we are talking about the beast who is, was, and yet is alive. That's New Rome. See, it talks about the rise of the Roman Empire, the fall. See, and the coming back of the Roman Empire. See, that's it. This man is just mixing up contents. See, let's see if he got some points.
And that will be the Antichrist. Now, how is the Antichrist going to be like Nimrod? Nimrod, who became a Gibor, didn't start out that way, but became a Gibor or mighty man. Now, to answer that, I'd like to share with you a short...
So, I would like to end up here. So, I hope you all brothers were edified through this lesson. No, so I'm going to end up by giving all praise, or honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash, Shalom.